Welcome to Verbling. I'm teacher Oakley, and for the next hour here on Verbling, we are going to be examining the indefinite article. Articles are a and the. The definite article used to introduce a noun which has been defined, thus definite article, is the. Today we're going to really concentrate on the indefinite articles, which are a and an. Okay, the class will run something like this. I will be introducing the general rules to you and talking to you about some exceptions or some special cases. And after that, in the remainder of the class, maybe the second half of the class, we will be doing a number of exercises together to check your understanding of the use of these articles, the indefinite articles. A note about the pronunciation. The indefinite articles, there's two, a and an, but there's no reason to have two. It's all about the pronunciation and the fact that we join sounds together in English. It's about rhythm and pronunciation. So we join vowel sounds with consonant sounds in English to keep our rhythm. So that's why there's two indefinite articles. We use a, or pronounced before a consonant sound, like a book, a car, like that. Simply because it's easy to join vowels and consonants. And we use the an article in front of vowel sounds, an elephant, an apple. Okay, so that's it. It only really gets confusing with a couple of different letters, specifically H, because in English, H can be pronounced a horse, or H can be silent, an hour. So you may use a or an in front of an H. And really the same thing with U, an umbrella, and a university, when the U actually makes a Y sound, yeah, 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 yeah. A university, a unit, a unique person. Okay, but other than that, the decision to use a or an is pretty straightforward. Okay. Hello, Victor. Welcome to the class. How are you today?
Pretty fine. Nice to see you again.
Likewise. Okay. All right, Victor, I'm going to be talking about the uses of the indefinite article and maybe some special cases. I'll be talking for quite a bit, so if you don't be shy, you can interrupt me. Excuse me, teacher. That's fine. Or you can write in the Verbling chat box if you have any questions, whatever you're more comfortable with, and I'll try to explain whatever in more detail. And then the last half of class, we're going to do a lot of exercises where we choose the correct article, a or an, or the, or no article. Okay, so that's the game plan. Plenty of room in the class. If
Yes,
others
there
would
is a
like
lot
to,
of people today.
others would like to join us. I don't know. It's very strange, lately here on Verbling. One day there'll be hardly any students, and the next day every class is packed, and I can't make any sense of it recently. I don't know if there's holidays, who knows? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, well, now we've got a couple other participants. Hello, Heidi. Welcome to the class.
Hello, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, that's good. Glad to have you here. And Vitor is also with us. Hi, Vitor.
Hi, Oakley.
How you
are
doing?
you? I'm good.
Okay. Okay. The subject for examination today is the indefinite article, and that would be a and an. I've already kind of explained that the function is exactly the same, a and an. We just simply use a in front of a consonant and an in front of vowel sound. Vowel sound, not necessarily the letter, but the sound. It's about the sound. So even an hour, even though H is a consonant, or a university. By the way, the article a, in normal pronunciation, sometimes you may hear a native speaker say a book. I need a book. When they do that, they're just emphasizing, trying to draw attention or emphasize the noun. But in normal, the flow of conversation, colloquial speech, the a article is just a book, a car, very closely joined with the next letter. Okay, let's talk about the use after I quickly welcome Carlos. Carlos Andres, hello.
Hi, teacher. How you doing?
How are you? Doing okay.
Fine.
How are you? Okay.
Fine. Very fine.
Great. Okay. All right, I'm going to do a screen share so you can follow along as I kind of explain about the indefinite article, articles, A and N. All right. Thank goodness, actually, the indefinite article is a lot more straightforward than the definite article, the. I don't remember if any of you were with me, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I covered the definite article on a Friday. I know it was on a Friday. And it took 2 classes, really, to go over all of the crazy exceptions and rules, and the is actually quite complicated. Today, A and N, a lot more straightforward, thank goodness. Okay. Indefinite article is used to refer to something for the first time, or to refer to a particular member of a group or class. All right, let's examine that more carefully. Very simple colloquial English. Would you like a drink? First time I'm mentioning it. Okay, I finally got a good job. All right, the first time that it's mentioned in a conversation, any normal conversation. I don't know how this next sentence would fit in a normal conversation, but okay. An elephant and a mouse fell in love. All right. Or in the case of naming members of a group. Okay. Let's talk more specifically about that. Ways for you to think about it. We use a when we're describing a job, an occupation. All right, John is a doctor. Mary is training to be an engineer, a dancer, what have you. Okay, so this is what we're talking about, members of a group. These are specific subcategories. So jobs, we're going to typically use a. Okay, nationalities and religions. When we're talking about a specific person, okay, for example, John is an Englishman, Kate is a Catholic. All right, if we're talking about the group in general as a whole, okay, then it would be, for example, the Chinese are very thrifty people. I don't know, whatever. Okay, the Muslim religion is widespread throughout the Middle East, like that. So if you're talking about the group, then you use the. Well, even when I say the group, I need to use the. Okay. But if you're talking about a member of the group, that's the important thing. That's where you use a or an. Okay. Another kind of a group are the days of the week. So you use with the names of the days of the week. But again, same idea, not referring to a specific day like October or like November the 6th. Okay, in that case, I have to, the 6th. It's very specific. It's defined. But for example, I was born on a Thursday. Okay, great. No problem. Could I come over on a Saturday sometime? Any Saturday. So we don't know exactly which one. That's the idea. Again, following basically a specific member of the group, we're going to be using a or a. Okay, a little more difficult to grasp. Any questions so far? Anyone? Nope. Okay.
No, at the moment.
Plowing forward then. All right, this one is it's still the idea of one example of a group, one of a possible many, but this is a little bit more abstract. I don't know. This really also, for me, is more like mentioning the noun for the first time. Okay. The mouse had a tiny nose. Okay, in this case, in context, we would have mentioned the mouse before, but now it's the first time we're mentioning his tiny nose. Okay, so really it's following the first rule. The first time you mention a noun, actually. It was a very strange car. Okay, well, yeah, the members of a group, noses, trunks, cars, whatever, but really, for me, this is more following the first idea, honestly. Okay, now here's one. The next rule is one you may not know. You use a with singular nouns after the words what and such. There's common expletive, colloquial expressions that include this element. For example, what a shame. Okay, if I say, oh, what a jerk, what an idiot, what a fool. These are very common expletive expressions, and it's very normal to have a after. She's such a beautiful girl. What a lovely day. Okay, now, it was pointed out to me by another student in another class who, when I was going over this information, there's something kind of interesting here, a little bit of a weird exception. Of course, we can only use ordinarily a or an, a or an, can only be used in front of a countable noun, and we'll talk about that more later. I shouldn't be using a or an in front of uncountable nouns like water. I shouldn't say a water. All right. Now, in fact, you may hear native speakers even abusing or not using or ignoring this grammar rule. For example, in a restaurant, you may hear a native speaker say, "Waiter, could I please have a water?" Grammatically, totally wrong, but colloquially, quite normal. Okay, so there's something weird here. This first one, what a shame.
Teacher,
Yeah,
I have a question, but
yeah.
is the example for the water is the unique example? That
No, not at all. No, other uncountable nouns. It doesn't matter what uncountable a noun it is. You can't say a
the people
rice.
use it.
Yeah, never use a
Okay.
or an.
Okay.
That is the rule, not the exception. And other uncountables that are more abstract, I guess. Things like knowledge. You can't say a knowledge or information. Or you can't have an information. You can have a fact. That is one piece of information. It's a fact,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I can't say I have an information for you. That doesn't work.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Having said all that, having buried myself in a hole there with that one, painted myself in a corner, now I have to show you what a shame, a very common colloquial expression, really, in English. And the fact is, shame, I have 3 shames. It's actually not countable. So this is, I guess it used to be countable. Here's the thing, it's just a colloquial expression, and it's really, really old. Why? Well, because in English, in Shakespeare's time, for example, you could use a or an with countable nouns, I think, or different words were countable than are countable or uncountable now. This is a very old expression. What a shame. And actually, this expression is in Shakespeare. I can't remember what play, but there's some long soliloquy. What a shame, 'tis blah, 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 and all the old English. Okay, it's a little bit of a weird exception. Okay, with what? There are expressions and also, okay, there are possibilities where you could have no article. What nonsense, for example. And there are a couple of, again, exceptions, I think very similar to what a shame, grammatically in today's English not correct, but there are a couple with what? The, as in, pardon me, but what the hell? Okay, the following what? Again, very colloquial expressions. Don't exactly follow the rule. Such, however, I tried to find an example of such followed by the, and I couldn't find any. It is possible to have such and then no article. For example, such fun. Okay, now, all right, what nonsense? Think about that. Nonsense is uncountable. Such fun. Fun is uncountable. So, okay, when we're going to follow such, if it's uncountable, you don't need an article. If it is a countable noun, like a beautiful girl, 3 beautiful girls, then you use a. Because another essential idea of the indefinite article is it means one, really.
Sorry, I have a question, but
Yeah.
it's related to this expression. I can say she's a beautiful girl. Also, I can say she's such a beautiful girl. What is the difference in the meaning of this
Mhm.
expression? What is the use of such in this expression?
It's it's used to show emphasis or to give emphasis. Okay.
Okay.
Along that note, and a side interesting, worthwhile thing to know regarding such, She's such a beautiful girl. Okay, I'm emphasizing her beauty. And if I want to use so, she's so beautiful. We also use so for this purpose to show emphasis. Notice the difference. Such is always followed by a noun combination, a beautiful girl. And so is always followed by an adjective. Okay, she's such a fool. She's so stupid. Okay, like that. All right, it's just the only purpose, Carlos, is to show emphasis. Okay, and as I was just saying, a basically means one, a single object or person, or single, or possibly, this is important, a single unit of measurement. Okay, for example, we can look at many examples where actually substituting the word one for the indefinite article is actually grammatically perfectly correct. When we do that, the point of doing that is it will add a little emphasis to the number and make the number more important. It is normal to do that when we need to contrast with other numbers. Okay, so as an example here, if you just wanted one orange, it would be very normal to say, I'd like an orange, and that's it. However, the second sentence, it's pretty normal to say one if you're contrasting with something else or some other number of things. Well, even if it's one, I'd like one orange and one lemon, please. I'd like one orange and two lemons, please. So this is fairly normal. It's not necessary. Both of these sentences are perfectly correct, but you would probably hear a native speaker actually use the number one when it's the point is that you're counting a couple of different things. Or okay, the burglar took a diamond necklace and some valuable paintings. Okay, you see, there's two things being counted here. Some obviously being vaguely counted. I can think of 100 reasons not to come. I've told you 1,000 times not to do that. All right, so you're going to be. It's very common. I can think of 100 reasons not to come. You can use a or one. When the context, the idea is really counting things. The emphasis is on counting things. You can use one. Or measuring things, as in I need a kilogram of sugar. I need 1 kilogram of sugar. Okay. Okay. We're gonna kind of look at things in a different way. Basically some rules. As I said earlier, we use the indefinite article with countable nouns when the hearer or reader does not know exactly which one we're referring to. Police are searching for a 14-year-old girl. We don't know which one. She hasn't been defined yet. Now, interesting thing about articles, it's a little weird, but to wrap your head around, I don't know. Verb tenses in English are entirely and completely dependent on the viewpoint of the speaker. The speaker decides what's true, what isn't true, what's a plan, what's volunteering, what's okay. The speaker can determine these things from their viewpoint. Strangely enough, articles are still from the speaker's viewpoint, but from what the speaker thinks the hearer, listener, or the reader knows already. So the listener is should be considered when you're thinking about whether to use an article or which article to use. Okay, so in other words, police are searching for a 14-year-old girl. It's assumed that the listener or reader doesn't know which 14-year-old girl. Sometimes it won't work. What if the 14-year-old girl is your cousin and you know exactly which one they're talking about? Maybe the listener does know. And it does happen where the speaker assumes the listener knows, but they don't. And that can be confusing, and it will most likely lead to a discussion to clarify the information. This happened to me the other day in a class. I had a student who said, "Oh, I've got good news. I bought the fish tank." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Now, for him, he thought it's defined. But for me, in our last conversation, we were talking about that he was shopping for a fish tank, so he was looking at many of them and comparing whatever 5 or 10 different models. So for me, it really confused me when I said I bought the fish tank, because I don't know which one. For me, he should have said I bought a fish tank, one of the many I was talking about, one of the group. So it actually led to some confusion. This will happen because of the why and how we use these indefinite articles. All right, and there it is, one of the group. One of the fish tanks. She is a pupil at London Road School. Okay. All right, in a paragraph, maybe in a newspaper or something. All right. Police have been searching for a 14-year-old girl who's been missing since Friday. Notice since Friday, there's no article for Friday. Okay. That's because we're not talking about one of a group of Fridays. We're actually talking about, clearly this indicates this was the last Friday that occurred. So notice no article there. Jenny Brown, a pupil at London Road School. There it is. Blah, blah, blah. She was last seen wearing a blue jacket, a blue and white blouse, and dark jeans and blue shoes. Notice a blue jacket, 3 jackets, a blouse, 3 blouses, dark blue jeans. I can't say 3 jeans, and that's why there's no article here. Jeans, shoes, uncountable. If I want to count them, I have to say a pair of jeans or a pair of shoes. Now, this all gets confusing with things like shoes, because it is possible for shoes to be countable. There are 3 mismatched, excuse my pronunciation, there are 3 mismatched shoes in the hallway. Okay, I'm counting them, right? But when we're considering the set of shoes which we wear, normally we have 2 shoes together as a set. We're talking about the set, then they become uncountable. Okay, so this is where it can be a little confusing. In other words, it is possible to say there is a shoe on the doorstep. Where did that come from? Okay, but when we're referring to clearly the set, she was wearing a pair of shoes. So no article. All right? Everyone see the difference there? Okay, anyone who has information should contact the local police. Okay, there's only one local police. There can't be more than one local police, usually, anyway. So it's already defined. It's not one of a group of local police. There's only one. So the.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry about interrupt you, but
Yeah.
in the last example I can say should contact a local policeman, for example. And in this case I will use the a article.
A local policeman, because
Yes.
he's
Oh,
one of a group. Yeah,
yes,
actually.
one of the group, but I don't know who is the correct police.
Which one? Yeah,
Which one? Thank you.
you're absolutely correct. Which one? Again, one. One of a group. Yes, that is correct. You are correct. If you actually used policeman, then you would use A. Use absolutely. You're correct. Very good. All right. Now the not using. We do not use an indefinite article with plural nouns. Never, 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 ever, ever, ever. That's solid. There's no exceptions. But obviously, going back to looking at jeans, these aren't plural. This is not plural. There are words that end with S that are not plural. Scissors, jeans. Just because it has an S at the end does not make it a plural noun. Okay, if I want to say plural scissors, I need to say 3 pairs of scissors, and now pairs is really the focus noun there. Okay, we do not use an indefinite article with plural nouns or uncountable nouns. And there's your shoes. Oh, the other one I didn't even notice. She has short blonde hair. Hair. Okay, like shoes. Okay, this is where it gets kind of confusing because hair can be countable or uncountable. When we consider the mass, and this happens a lot, when we consider the mass, it's uncountable. As in here, she has short blonde hair, her mass of hair on her head. However, it's possible to be countable each individual strand of hair, piece of hair. Okay, waiter, there is a hair in my soup. This is obviously possible. All right, and so this happens a lot. Again, talking about the individual as opposed to the mass. Okay, and there's all that stuff, information, uncountable. All right. Okay, we already talked about A or N being used for a job. George is a student. Oh, by the way, a student in English is more or less considered as a job, at least grammatically. From a grammar standpoint, student in this case and other cases is basically treated as a job. Okay. All right. We use A or N with a singular noun. This is one of many possibilities, actually 5 different distinct possibilities of how we talk about all things of that kind. This is one possibility. Okay, a man needs friends. All right, we're talking in general. This is for general. The meaning is all men need friends. You could just say men need friends. Countable nouns in normal colloquial speech, okay, we're just going to, countable nouns, if we want to talk in general about something, we just use the plural of the countable nouns. Pencils are useful. Okay. Dogs like to eat meat. This is normal. This use of the singular, to say something about all things. This is more. It's a little more formal. It's you might see it in writing. For example, when I'm teaching students writing for TOEFL or IELTS or something, I usually tell them, look, you have an option. You can give me a plural countable noun, or you can say a whatever. Do it that one way or the other. There's another way to do it, but it's grammatically correct. I'll mention it. And it's like this. But personally, I've never really found any use for it. It is extremely formal. It's used primarily only for academia. All right, if you're writing a thesis, okay, or you're writing a textbook, or you're writing an encyclopedia, then you might also see the definite article like this. The dog likes to eat meat. It's extremely formal and not really useful for 99% of us because we don't write textbooks. It just, if you see it, yes, it is viable. It is possible. But generally, more or less useless for most of us. Okay, I want to just mention about some, because some is actually somewhat associated with using a or an. An apple, of course, means one apple. Give me some apples. Obviously, you want a quantity, plural, but not designated. Okay, we don't really. Okay, never mind all the Spanish. Okay. Oh, okay. Some is used as a quantifier. There are some apples there, but not many. All right. Now, the confusing part is you probably think of some as a quantifier to say many, but it is also possible to use some in a similar way as using the indefinite article a or an. Okay, it can also serve as a singular indefinite article, as in this example here. There is some person on the porch. Notice the way I say that. Notice my intonation. There's some guy on the porch. All right. It is being basically used as an article, but the usage is slightly different in that some in this sentence indicates that this person is not known. The identity is not known by both the listener and the speaker.
The same as certain.
There's a certain person on not exactly. You mean like there's a certain person on the porch? Yes?
Yeah.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good question. Now, that's a very interesting case. There's a certain person on the porch probably means that the speaker knows. Oh, that's a tricky one. There's a certain individual on the porch who I know you don't want to see. For example, I might use that like that. That's very unique because that means that the speaker, I know who that person is. All right. And the listener doesn't know who it is yet, but when the listener sees them, they will know. Is that overly complicated? The idea, it's similar, but not quite the same, because some indicates that the speaker doesn't know and the listener doesn't know. Usually, of course, normal use of a or an, the speaker always knows what he's talking about, the nouns he's introducing. And he decides if the listener does or does not know. That helps him choose his article or no article. With using some means that the speaker doesn't know either. All right? There's some person on the porch, the speaker doesn't know who it is, and he assumes the listener doesn't know who it is. Okay. So indefiniteness, not just to the listener, but the listener and the speaker. Okay. While there is a person on the porch indicates indefiniteness to the listener, as a or an always does, but doesn't really give any information if the speaker knows the person or not. It's maybe the speaker knows him, maybe he doesn't if you just use a. So there's a subtle difference between saying there's a person on the porch and there is some person on the porch. There's some person on the porch. You would definitely emphasize that in speaking with your intonation. to show the questioning nature, the uncertainty. But so there's a subtle difference there. Okay, any questions about using some in this way? Okay, guess what? All right. Now it's time. I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of the sound of my own voice. So now we're going to try some exercises and take turns going around the class. We're going to start off real simple here. Possibly, and we're going to do some exercises with articles. Not only a, and no article, but possibly even with the. And we can talk about it if it's confusing. So let's just jump right on. Victor, number 1.
Okay, I'm not going to work tomorrow. I think
Okay.
it's because it's an action, not is a specific kind of word. So it's not article.
No article, absolutely. Excuse me. Work here is uncountable. Yeah. Okay. Work is an uncountable noun, actually. It is possible to be countable if you're talking about usually like artwork. And usually, and that's expressed like works of art. Or, yeah, well, that's about it. Normally in practical use, work is uncountable. Heidi, number 2.
Did you do the work that I asked you to do?
Very good. In this case, now we see that work is some specific work, some defined work. We know it's defined because you know the listener already knows because you're saying I asked you to do. So it's not the first time it's mentioned. Okay, this is very specifically some work. Notice I can't say a work. I can never say a work because it's not, you're normally not countable. But it is a specifically defined bit of work. Okay, Vitor, number 3 here.
He's a really good swimmer.
Okay, you are correct. Swimmers are countable. 3 swimmers. So 1 of a group. Many swimmers. Possibly. All right, Victor, number 4.
Okay, he's really good at math, no article.
Okay, that's right. Why is there no article in this sentence?
Because it's a quality of the person
Yeah,
to be
because
really good at math.
All right, and to make it even more simple, at math is a prepositional phrase. Added information. Okay, it's not an object noun. So in reality, there's no noun. Okay, all articles are used. They're a type of determiner always used with a noun. There is no noun here for the article to act on. So, yeah, your reason is correct. It's because it's a quality, but also more basic and direct. There's simply no noun. So there can't be an article. Okay, Heidi, number 5.
I can't come to the party on Friday.
Okay, why?
It's
You're right.
Specific party.
What's that? Sorry?
It's a specific party.
Specific party. Specific.
party.
Yes, it is. It's on Friday. It's defined. Okay. Usually, always, if you have a relative clause, the man who sold me the car is bald. Okay, relative clause, who sold me the car? Definitely going to be defined, even if it's the first time you're mentioning the man, you're defining him in the sentence, so you're going to always use the. Usually, and sometimes this can be tricky, if we have prepositional phrases, especially prepositional phrases that, well, that's what they do, but they show time or place or purpose, directly related to the noun, then it's defined. Okay, we know which party. It's defined because it's the one on Friday. That's it. Very good. Okay, number 6, Vitor.
He invited me to a party at his house.
Okay, why are we using a?
Because you are referring to a specific party.
No, specific is the. We use the for specific. The party on Friday. We use a to show one of many, one of a group, one of many possibles. Okay, so a party at his house. It's the first time we're mentioning it, so it's not defined, really. Probably it's the first time we're mentioning it. Actually, it's one of many possible parties. Woohoo! So, a party. Most likely, it's the first time it's being mentioned. It would seem from the context.
Okay.
All right. Victor, how about number 7?
Okay. Many boys like to play football. No article.
That's right. Why?
Really, I don't know the the reason. I think if you say many the boys like to play football is a bad construction of the sentence,
Well,
but I
actually,
don't know the reason.
you can. Many boys like to play football. First of all, plural. Plural countable noun. Okay. Because when we want to talk about something in general, water is good for you. Okay. Uncountable noun. Water is good for you. You just say the word. That's it. I'm talking about all water is good for you, generally speaking. Well, yeah. Okay. As an example. All right. Boys don't study hard. I'm talking about all boys. Many boys like to play football, so I'm talking about them in general. Countable nouns, you use the plural to do this. That's it. As opposed to the next one here, Heidi.
Many of the boys in my class play football.
Okay, why now?
The boys in my class.
Okay. Okay, many.
Many of the boys in my class. Boys is only in my class, not
Yeah.
general.
Okay. All right. So, okay, it's kind of okay. It's defined which boys we're talking about. In other words, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Another side note here, kind of related, not really related to articles, but notice the construction when we use one of these, some of the or many of the subject noun is over here, is boys. So normally, of course, we have the subject noun first in a sentence, and it's over here, and also boys play football. Okay, so the subject noun that we have to consider when we conjugate the verb is actually in these types of phrases is actually the noun that's really part of a prepositional phrase here. Many of the boys play. All right, just be aware of that. That's kind of a side note there. Vitor, number 9.
We went on vacation to Spain.
That's right. Okay, no article. Why?
Good question.
Okay. Why is because it's a name. All right. Names don't need articles. Like I wouldn't say there's a Vitor in the class. The Vitor is answering the question. I wouldn't say that. Okay. Names, and that includes names of cities, names of countries, names of territories or states. We don't use articles. Even now it gets tricky because there are cases where we use the with some things like mountain ranges, the Andes, the Urals, the Rocky Mountains, like that. Buildings and bridges, the Golden Gate Bridge, the Taj Mahal, we do use the. It gets very complicated with the. But definitely countries, sticking with that one aspect of the rule, no article. Never. And it's certainly not the indefinite article either. Neither one. Victor, number 10.
Okay, this is the last time I'm going to tell you this.
Very good. Do you know why?
Yes, because it's a definite time. We are talking about the last time and a specific time.
That's right. There is only one last time. It's impossible to have 2 last times.
It depends on some relationship. You have one last time, 2 last time, 3 last time.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
possible sometimes.
Yeah, all right. In real life, okay, you're right. All right. I concede your point. Yes, yes, you have a point. But literally, grammatically, there could be only one last time. Supposedly, yes, you do have a point. I understand what you're saying. Okay, kind of funny. All right. Let's see here. Let's try another one. We got, I don't know, 8 minutes or so. Let's try a few more. Okay, well, all right. Let's look at it from the perspective of a whole written English and a whole written paragraph here. So let's go sentence by sentence. You may have 1 or 2 or 3 blanks, whatever. Okay, is it a or an, or is it the, or is it no article? And let's give it a try. Heidi? Little story
After
here.
seeing that there was no milk in the refrigerator, John. Refrigerator, okay. John decided to go to the supermarket to buy some.
Okay. All right. There's no milk in the refrigerator. Why the?
The refrigerator is the specific refrigerator in John's house.
Yeah. Very. Okay. Some people do, I suppose. Some people have more than one refrigerator, but basically the understanding is there's only one. So John most likely has one refrigerator in his house, and that's specific. That is absolutely true. Although
nobody like that.
normally, but okay, if we're in Korea, for example, in Korea, it's very normal to have one refrigerator for all your other food and one refrigerator for your kimchi. So I suppose if John was in Korea, we might have to change the sentence. Yeah. And actually, that's true. You know that's true, right? Okay. Anyway, yes. All right. Very good. And the next part, John decided to go to the supermarket to buy some. Now, this is an interesting case. You're not wrong. You are correct. All right. The assumption would be that John goes to one specific supermarket all the time because most people do.
Yeah.
It is possible to use a. here.
Mm.
John decided to go to a supermarket, one of many in his city. Okay?
Or
It is possible.
very new in this city.
Possibly. Right. Because we don't have that context. Right. Maybe if he's new, he just arrived in the city, then definitely we would use a.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes. Right. So there are cases where, again, this goes back to my little story about buying the fish tank. It kind of depends on the context, and it depends more on context than any actual grammar rule per se. Right. All right. That's a pretty good example.
I said at the supermarket, even though there are 3 or 4 supermarkets around my house.
Yeah, I would use the supermarket myself. If I was saying this or talking to you, I would also say the supermarket because it's very normal for people to go to one. I usually go to the same supermarket, but whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, continuing. Vitor.
Yep. Number 2.
Mhm.
It took him a long time to get there because there was a lot of traffic on the way.
Perfect. Okay, it took him a long time. Why a long time?
Because you are, specific time.
Yeah, okay. Not specific. Again, a is the indefinite. Indefinite. IN definite means it's not defined. A long time. How long is a long time for you, Vitor? What's a long time?
I cannot define.
Well, there you go. Neither can I. I don't know. For you, a long time, maybe 30 minutes. For me, it's 30 years. I don't know. Exactly. It's a completely undefined terminology. So you could actually never say the long time. It doesn't make sense at all. So we always, when we use that phrase, we say a long time. And then a lot of traffic. Okay. Couple reasons here. Again, it's not defined. Also, by the way, traffic is uncountable. Why is it, Vitor, on the way?
Again, pretty hard to answer. I don't know.
Because there's only one. The way that he went, he's one person, so he didn't divide like an amoeba and go 2 different ways. There's only one option. Because we're in the past tense, we're talking about there was a lot of traffic on the way. Was. Past tense. He traveled from A to B. There's no other options. It has to be the way that he traveled.
I understand.
Okay. All right. Victor, next one.
As he got to the supermarket, he realized that he had left his wallet at the home.
Okay. Definitely as he got to the supermarket. We already talked about that, but let's talk about at the home. Actually, you're wrong.
Yes, I remember we don't use the before the home.
Right. And we also don't use to. Okay, now here, let me try to explain this little aspect. Some places that we consider, maybe you consider it a place, but in English it can be considered as a concept, like home, being home, the idea of being home, like school. Oh, Bob's at school, not at the school, because we're not really thinking about it as a place, but more as a concept, the place you go to get educated. Home, the place you go to rest and eat and be with your family. Okay, so some of these, this is like an exception, some of these concept nouns where we're not thinking about it as an individual specific place, but it's just thought of as an overall concept. It can be like that. Okay. Well, actually, unfortunately, although we could do this for hours and hours, we can't because I'm out of time, and once again, as always, I'm over time. So I hope you learned a few interesting points, and thank you very much, and we'll see you guys again real soon. Have a great day, everybody.
Goodbye.